Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to make a quick video. I wasn't planning on making this video, once again, as always. Anyways, just want to get through this as fast as possible because it's not as important. It's not really that important. I don't consider it that important. Anyways, it's late. Oh, stupid hair. Get out of here. I was working on videos, as I casually do. Mainly highlights videos, not necessarily my own, because once again, I'm still a bit lazy, but trying to get back on the train. Anyways, sidetrack after sidetrack after sidetrack, we're here for hours. Let's continue. From experience, I've learned things on YouTube, things that are bad, and things that are good. And I've learned from the things that are good that show, and the things that are bad that show. Like, sometimes when you do something stupid, or you do something bad, or something you do on your channel with your content you shouldn't be doing, there's sometimes you can look at it and you go like, oh, well, here's this video 2 days ago, here's it today. Oh, look, this happened. And, you know, it's pretty obvious when something's going on. And, you know, to be honest, at first, when I had all that different stuff where I did like some of the subbot stuff and some of all that different stuff, obviously at first I was just experimenting with stuff, and then it kind of was like, ooh, this is making me look good, let's use it more. And obviously I'm not saying, oh no, I'm using it again. Okay, that's not what this is to talk about. I'm just, because this has to relate to that, is I learned a lot from that, is like when something's obvious, when you're either subbotting or viewbotting or whatever, when it's obvious and when it's kind of more concealed. And if you were aware, the let's talk about Team Coda video did well. The last time, the other day, or at least when it went up, it got what, like 30 views in like the first 2 hours, which, you know, knowing my channel and my content, usually that isn't something that happens right off the bat. And it ended up with about 60 views. And, you know, that usually doesn't happen right off. It doesn't happen like within like 2 or 3 days. Usually it doesn't go off like that in the first few hours, especially. And, you know, usually I'm aware of something like this. Like sometimes, like in the far past, sometimes I'd experiment with like viewbots, see what got noticed, what didn't, just to mess around with the algorithm, and also for my personal gain when I was kind of like, oh my gosh, I need to grow, kind of like power crazy almost. And I tested it and different stuff, and I saw, oh, this is when it gets taken, this is when it doesn't get taken. And obviously, like, once again, I'm not saying, oh, now I'm doing it again. That was when I was doing it, and I was just using it like that to try and for my own personal gain, but obviously it didn't really gain me anything. But, you know, if there's usually something that's going on, I can either know or it's because of me. And usually when there's something weird going on, it's me. And if you ask me, I'm not afraid to own up to it, and I will own up to it even on myself without anyone asking. So I like to tell people when stuff is going on, and therefore that's why I am confused, because if you were to check as of now my Team Coda video, unless for somehow it magically changes again, as of right now this second, I will be taking a screen picture after this just to save the moment. It went down, what, like 30 views, and that only happens when you viewbot, when you use a legitimate viewbot that are generated views. And I've learned this from experience, and so that's why I was confused, because I was like, how did that video just boom? Sometimes I get, yeah, 30 views, sure. That's not something that's like, oh my gosh, whoa, that never happens. It happens on occasion, and obviously I'm aware when that happens, and usually it isn't in the first 2 hours of the video being up, and it isn't like, oh, all of a sudden 30 views. It isn't like I'm not saying, oh no, 30 views all of a sudden. Oh no, it's just for how my content was going, and for that just being a vlog talking about a group called Team Coda, it just seemed kind of weird that all of a sudden that was the one video that kind of like had like a small explosion, like compared to the rest of my content on my channel. And that was what confused me, and I was like, I was like, oh, maybe there's something going on here, but I'm like, nah, probably not. There was probably nothing going on. Maybe it was like, for instance, because it had like Golden Fox, and he has over 1,000 subscribers and stuff, and like different people who haven't seen my channel. Maybe because they were looking at Team Coda, they saw my video and they clicked on it, and that's what happened. And they came from there, from the other guys' channel, and different all that stuff. And that's why I was just like, oh, that's probably what happened. It came from there. But obviously, I know now that that was not the case. And as much as I'd hate to admit, like, oh, look, I didn't actually get these views legitly, I did not. And I didn't do this, but somebody did. And sure, oh, look, somebody like view bots me or whatever they do. Sure, that makes me look better, but I'd rather like understand where my views are going and see them grow, like actually grow, rather than, you know, to get something like, get my views start going up, get my hopes up, and all of a sudden just keep losing views because I'm not doing anything. Because I know, like, I don't know who's doing this, but the only thing I can assume is that maybe it was someone who has to do with Team Coda, and I'm not saying it is. Maybe it's somebody who likes the content and wants to see me successful. I'm just confused, honestly, and that's the only thing that really makes sense to me, personally. And I just want to make sure that, like, whatever is happening, that people are aware, and I just want to make sure that I'm not looking at someone, like, for instance, I look at, like, other people's channels. I don't, like, compare myself and go, oh, no, I'm doing worse than them. Well, obviously, like, a smidge, but not, like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go cry now because they got this many views, I got this, I'm not doing that. I don't do that. I used to do that, and then I learned, and now I don't do that. But I don't want to be having to look onto a channel and see, wow, they're doing pretty good, and then find out they're not doing good. And that's why I figured I would tell you, when I told you before about what I did, like with the subbot, like way back, whatever, that's probably like a year ago now. Probably over a year ago, wow, I think. More or less, whatever, something like that. And, you know, I just felt like I owed it to myself, and I owed it to the people who actually watch, to know that I'm not getting hundreds of views because I'm exploding, because people are actually watching my videos. Sometimes I'm getting hundreds of views because I feel like I need to get hundreds of views, and that sometimes I don't get hundreds of views legitly. And I just want to, like, not trying to expose anyone if anyone's doing this to their channel. I just want people to see, like, an accurate representation, because I believe in, like, it's kind of not really, it's kind of hypocritical, but I believe in more of the natural growth rather than trying to use, like, different things, like maybe try and use some sort of, like, sub for sub thing or something like that, or sub bot or view bot, to try and, like, inflate your views or inflate your subs a little bit, so people go like, ooh, this person's doing pretty good, I'll check them out. And then it kind of, like, gives you a little ooh, flashy in everyone's face, and then people subscribe because they find your channel. Once again, I used to do that, and now, like, I understand why, when I used to watch tip videos about how to grow my channel, I never understood, like, people would say, like, oh, never sub for sub. I'd be like, what's so bad about sub for subbing? It's just, you know, it gets a few extra subscribers, a little bit extra exposure, but it does do, like, maybe not necessarily, like, damage, but it does like, a bit of damage to your channel itself. And I don't know what the necessarily point of this video was. Once again, it wasn't to call anybody out, it wasn't to do anything like, go, oh, like, person, whoever you are, confess. Because obviously, I don't really care. Because in the end, technically, I got views out of that. But once again, I'm not about views. I just want to make sure that this is figured out, and that people, you know, because I don't want to end up waking up days where it's like, oh, I got 300 views on my video, then all of a sudden I find out, no, that 300 views actually was 10 views, you know, all fake. I don't want to be falsely believing in something that's not true. And that's why this time, after some of my mistakes, I've tried so much harder to make it much more of a natural growth, rather than, you know, oh, let's use view bots or whatever, sub for sub and stuff, and then, oh look, I'm growing. Like, that's why, for instance, I'm sitting at I've honestly learned a lot from just sitting here, not really moving around. But I don't want to start like moving again, then all of a sudden find out, oh, yeah, I thought I was moving like naturally, I thought it was actually going well. Oh no, that's all a lie. And obviously, when I lie to myself about saying I'm moving, like before, like when I was doing it, I'd be like, oh yeah, this is really good, this is a good thing, I'm moving up, I'm doing great. But really, I knew that I wasn't doing that great. So I just don't want to end up like actually, because this time, if something like does continue, obviously I will have no clue because I have no power in it whatsoever. So, you know, I honestly have no idea why. It was only the one video. I just wanted to do this because I was actually honestly surprised, because I think this has happened maybe once before, like way earlier, that someone like did this to my channel. I have to throw in one thing really quick here, guys. The reason why I'm saying this is that it's like someone's view botting me or something like that is because I've never had an experience where it's actually legitly taken away views, because every time, if you ever see my content where it's taken away views, that's because I know why it's been taking away views. And there's only been maybe one other time that it's taken away views without me really actually knowing why. So that's why the only time I've ever seen it take away for the idea of low quality views, which is usually why they take views away, which, you know, I explained, 15 seconds or less. So that's why. And that's why I'm like wondering, is like a lot of these, like once again, I've done a lot of experimenting, a lot of testing, seeing what works, what doesn't. And basically, a lot of these things that are like view for view or whatever they are that include views have to do with a point system. So it's not just like, oh, here's a video, now get views. It's like a point system. Whatever. I'm done. Sorry, I just had a lot to just talk about because I wanted to. Just because I was like really, like I thought I had like a video that was maybe like, ooh, that one little cool video every once in a while that actually did well. But come to my surprise, not the case. And it's very disappointing to kind of see that. Like, I don't know like what the person's intention was, or what it was. Like, if they're like, oh, I just wanted to help you. Like, I'm not against anyone, like, for whoever did this. And you're probably like, oh, you're probably overreacting. It's probably just a natural system. I can tell you is that, based on what I've seen, is the natural system, like, sure, it may take away maybe a few views, like, for instance, if they're not actually, like, quality, like, if they're low quality views, that's what they say, low quality views, that's are the views that get taken away, and those are only the views that are from people that view for 15 seconds or less. And a lot of times I've experienced, like, for instance, if I try and test it with another account watching my own videos, and I watch less than 15 seconds, it just straight off the bat just doesn't count it a lot of times. And when it does, it doesn't subtract the view ever. And that's why usually when it sees fake views, that's the only time that they're actually taken away from the view count. Sorry to cut in again, I forgot one thing I was going to say before, is that also usually with the natural selection I've seen, is that when it naturally takes away views, it's usually a smaller number of views. It's usually not like 20 views, 50 views, 30 views. Like, usually maybe there might be 1 or 2 views, maybe 5 views on occasion, like, if it thinks they're invalid. But usually it doesn't take away a huge number of views, and it doesn't take away that often. So it just doesn't really add up for me. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. Sorry, I just kind of went on a little bit of a craziness here, just because this made me a little bit like, why? But anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you're new around here, be sure to subscribe. If you guys like this video for some reason, leave a like. If you have any information about why, let me know down in the comments below. Like, once again, I'm not really mad. I just want to make sure I'm not believing that I'm doing well when I'm actually not doing well, because that's the thing, is like, if I'm not doing well, I know, okay, well, I have to do something, I have to better my content, I have to fix it some way, so maybe it can get some traction. Like, not necessarily, like, I know it's like 1 in a million shot to actually go anywhere, but you know, I just want to make sure that if I do go somewhere, which is always a possibility, but obviously very slim, that it's actually for the right reasons, and that I'm actually working hard not to find out, oh, yeah, actually, it's all fake, it was all a lie, like, nothing. Like, I want to make sure that my content is the best it can possibly be, and if I'm just constantly getting, like, shown, like, something not real, how can I actually judge that? Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you choose to join the nation, the WItherNation. I'll catch you guys on the flip side. See you later.